Hey guys, welcome back to Cara's Cakes. Today is Saturday and I have to upload a video tomorrow, or the day you're probably watching this, on Sunday. So I don't have any ideas for videos. I had one, but that one's not going to work out for today. And I don't really want to get into the St. Patrick's Day stuff yet. If you want to see a St. Patrick's Day video next week, give this video a big thumbs up and let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see that next week as well. So I was going through my Pinterest boards of all the things that I saved to bake, and I found these cookies, and I did bake them one other time when we first went into lockdown. I'm pretty sure it's the same recipe because it's saved on my board, and I have all the ingredients to make it. So I'm gonna go ahead and print this, and then we're gonna go over to the kitchen and get started measuring out ingredients. So these are the cookies, and it's Sally's Baking Addiction. Okay, so the recipe says it makes 15 to 16 large cookies, but I'm gonna double it because I'm going to a friend's house later and I wanna bring some with me, and I still wanna have extras for Seamus, my boyfriend, and maybe some for my family as well. So the first step is to get a bowl with all of your dry ingredients, and the first says 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So doubling that is gonna be 3 cups, so 1, 2, 3. The next is 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, but if you're gonna double it, that would be 3 teaspoons, and 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon. So 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, or if you're going to double it, that would be 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So half a teaspoon of cream of tartar is 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so a half a teaspoon of salt. So with the dry ingredients, I normally take my little whisk and just combine them together. All right, and then set that aside. The next step is to take some softened butter and sugar and mix it in the mixer. But I just took my butter out of the fridge, so to soften that, I cut it up into little cubes and pop it in the microwave for 25-second intervals until soft. So the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of unsalted butter, so I will be cutting up 1 cup of unsalted butter. Okay, so my butter is softened. I'm gonna add that to my mixer. So add the paddle attachment, and before you add the sugar in, mix the butter up a little bit. So I'm gonna mix it up a little bit until it gets a little bit whiter in color, and then I'm going to add the sugar in. So while the butter starts to mix together, the recipe calls for 3/4 cup of sugar, or if you're doubling the recipe, you could do 1.5 cups. So I've mixed up the butter a little bit, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in my sugar. So I'm gonna turn the mixer on and combine it until it's fluffy. The recipe calls for 1 large egg, but I'm gonna use 2 because I'm doubling. And the last things on the recipe are 1 teaspoon of vanilla, which I'm gonna double for 2 teaspoons, and then 1 cup of sprinkles, which I'm also gonna double for 2. So the sprinkles that I'm using are like the long, colorful sprinkles. I recommend using these ones because the little circle sprinkles have more dye on them so that they would bleed. So these ones work a lot better in baking. So the butter and sugar have come together, and they're nice and soft. I'm just scraping down the sides really good. The next step is to add in your egg, or if you're doubling it, your 2 eggs. You're gonna add them one at a time until incorporated. And then you can also add in your vanilla. Now that the eggs and vanilla are added in, you're gonna go ahead and take your dry ingredients and slowly mix them into your wet. So now that the dough has formed, I'm gonna add in the sprinkles a little bit at a time and then remove it from the mixer. Some of the sprinkles did stick to the bottom, but I'm gonna remove the dough from the paddle and I'm gonna kind of mush them into the bottom so they collect all the sprinkles up. So I'm just gonna go get some sort of dish, line it with parchment paper, and roll these up into balls because they do have to chill in the fridge for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and individually scoop the cookie dough balls, roll them up, and put them in here. The recipe states to make at least a 2 tablespoon ball. So what you could do is grab a tablespoon like I'm gonna do, and get 2 of them and see how it feels, and then just continue that on. I have all of these balls measured out. I ended up getting 32 of them. I'm gonna pop them in the fridge for 2 hours, set a timer, try and get some other stuff done around the house, and then I'll come back. Okay, so it's been 2 hours and I've preheated both of my ovens to 350 degrees. I have double ovens, and if I'm making cookies, I like to heat both of them up, and I know it might seem ridiculous, but it saves on cooking time. If I put a tray of cookies in this oven in the middle and then in this oven in the middle, they bake evenly. If you do have one oven, I would suggest putting one tray in at a time, or put them both in and rotate them halfway through, and keep in mind that you may have to keep them in a little bit longer. I have 2 baking trays out and I'm just covering them with parchment. And I'm gonna put them out on the baking sheets and pop them in the oven. Okay, so I'm gonna pop them in the oven for 12 minutes. It says 11 to 12 minutes in the recipe, so go ahead and pop them in for 12 minutes and then we'll check in on them when they're done. Okay, so they came out of the oven, and I don't know if you can tell, but they are a little golden on the sides, and that's what you want. The recipe says to let them sit here for about 10 minutes before transferring to a wire rack. Alright, so here are the finished product of the FETTI cookies. I'll insert my Instagram picture here that I took, and don't forget to go over there and follow me at Cara Bakes Cakes. If you would like this video, give it a big thumbs up, scroll down to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos from me. Thanks for watching.